Hey everybody, this is Lowly Jane, animal communicator and energy healer from animals-speak.com, and you're listening to Lowly Jane Animal Communication Podcast, the show that promises to open your mind and heart to the amazing world of animal communication, energy healing, and what I like to call interspecies therapy. Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'll be dedicating the whole episode to felines, including cats, big and small. We have chosen to have close companionship and relationships with these amazing animals. Our domesticated feline friends have a special place in our heart. I'll be talking about specific physical and health and behavioral issues, our household cats and exotic big cats, and how animal communication and energy healing can help. Both animal communication and energy healing are cost effective, but can also greatly help with your cat's behavioral and emotional issues, including trauma, injuries, pain, illness, and disease. If you've listened to any of my other podcasts, you will know that my episodes are both practical and educational, but also have a very deep and spiritual component to them. This episode has lots of guidance on how to holistically address many health and behavioral and physical issues with your cat and how it relates to you as a pet parent or caretaker. This includes our small domestic cats and our rescued big cats. I am excited about today's podcast because there are so many different ways we can relate to and care for our feline friends. Some of us are pet parents and have cats as close companions. Some are veterinarians, and others work tirelessly to help rescue, foster, and adopt our homeless feral cats. And don't forget about our caretakers at big cat rescue centers. The word feline encompasses all cats, domestic and wild, big and small, including feral cats, domestic cats, big cats like lions, tigers, cheetahs, leopards, snow leopards, clouded leopards, jaguars, panthers, cougars, lynxes, and bobcats. Feline caretakers are as diverse as feline species, regardless of your relationship and interaction with them. But for some reason, we have all chosen to dedicate part of our lives to work with these divine felines. So consider it a gift. I hope this podcast broadens your perspective on our unique connection with felines. Please keep an open mind and heart and stay with me for the entire podcast while we explore solutions for behavioral, physical, and health issues, as well as a deep dive into the amazing multi-dimensional aspects of felines. I will share with you some amazing mind-blowing wisdom, stories, and messages directly from the cats to be shared with humanity. I also have some amazing client testimonials. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a certified international professional animal communicator and pranic energy healer, and I offer remote and in-person animal communication, whether they are alive or in spirit. I also offer pranic healing for trauma, injuries, pain, illness, disease, and behavioral and emotional issues. And if you've ever wanted to become an animal communicator, I teach animal communicator training workshops and provide one-on-one mentoring. Check out my website for workshop schedules at animals-speak.com or at mindbodyspiritworkshops.com. I grew up as a dog person. I never had a cat growing up until one day, unbeknownst to me, someone gave me a pregnant cat who had a litter of kittens on New Year's Eve, and so began my love affair with cats. Later, I had another cat for 22 years. I don't have to tell you the amazing intelligence of these beings. However, many of the things I really learned about cats were after I became an animal communicator and started getting first-hand information during my animal communication sessions. It was so unbelievable and mind-blowing, and the information I received was confirmed over and over again in multiple sessions with cats. I will share these amazing tidbits with you later in the episode. Let's talk about the history of cats first. It was thought that feline domestication dated back to the ancient Egyptians. However, in 2004, a 9,500-year-old cat buried with a human on the Mediterranean island of Cyprus revealed that cats have been living with people for thousands of years longer than we first thought. In ancient Egyptian society, cats played a very important role. Not only were cats kept as domestic companions to ward off mice and snakes, but cats were known to ward off evil, since they had the ability to sense and see the non-visible worlds and even go into the in-between worlds or underworlds. To the Egyptians, cats were known to be magical and highly protective. And because of this, they were elevated to god and deity status and were depicted with a human body and a feline head. There were several goddesses that were half cat and half human. I am not going to try to say the names because I will butcher it. But there was a goddess depicted as a lioness-headed woman with a sun disk and a stylized cobra on her head, and several other cat, human, feline goddesses in ancient Egyptian antiquity. Because of the elevated status of felines, they had elaborately entombed and mummified with their human companions. Cats were also entombed holding paintbrushes, representing a feline's ability to paint. It was widely known during Egyptian antiquity and even scientifically studied in modern times that cats were able to pick out colors and paint. In the book Why Cats Paint, it shows a cat painting a Van Gogh Starry Nights. The painting was hung upside down and the cat was able to replicate the entire painting and select the correct colors. Amazing. Felines also had a long and storied history in the Far East and Asia. Cats were known to protect rice stores against rodents and, again, to ward off evil. Ancient and even today's modern and Japanese sailing vessels always have multicolored cats on board to catch rodents and to ward off evil. Cats are also known to be healers. They do ultrasonic healing using sound frequency vibrations from their purring. There are studies showing cat owners having reduced high blood pressures because of this ultrasonic healing, and of course from the love and companionship that they provide that reduces our blood pressure naturally. During animal communication sessions, I've had quite a few cats tell me their purpose is to be a healer. And amazingly so, I even had one cat whose person was a minister of divine science, and her cat told me she was a healer from Andromeda, not the person, but the cat. Who knew all of this about our felines? Now let's explore this connection and our deep bond we have with our own cats and how animal communication can play a role. Our domestic cats have a profound connection with us, and by bringing us gifts of service to help us with our lessons in this lifetime and many others. But be prepared to look in the mirror because many of our cats' issues are a reflection of our own lives. We will talk about animal mirroring, and believe me, your cats are really good at it. Do you ever notice your cat is trying to communicate something to you and has started a new behavior? What are they trying to tell you? This is where animal communication comes in. Imagine being able to directly communicate with your cat or kitten to find out what is on their mind. That is a remarkable thing about animal communication, to be able to bridge that gap of communication between you and your animals. So what is animal communication and how can it help? Animal communication is not a psychic reading, it's not intuition, and it's not a guess. It is also not a gift. Animal communication is simply telepathy. If you listen to episodes 1 and 2, you will learn that telepathy uses thoughts, words, images, sounds, smells, and feelings. And this is how animals communicate with one another. It is an innate ability of the animal kingdom. And since we are part of the animal kingdom, we also have this innate ability that each and every one of us can develop. That is why it is not a gift. So if you've ever worked with an animal communicator like myself, we are directly communicating with your animal using thoughts, words, images, and anything to do with the five senses. So why isn't everyone telepathic? The problem is we were taught how to verbalize language from the time we were an infant and speak through words and language instead of using telepathy. So this innate ability we all have was not developed or nurtured. And in fact, we are repeatedly told that it is fake and not real. And belief or disbelief play a large part of your ability to do anything, really, including telepathy. I can assure you, not only is it real, but it dates back to the ancient Aborigines and is currently being scientifically studied and used by the military in many countries. So, what are the benefits of animal communication and energy healing with felines? Well, here are some of the benefits and how I can help. Animal communication and energy healing can be done remotely or in person. So, I can communicate with your cats and felines to help resolve any specific issue from anywhere in the world. And I do have a global podcast, so I can speak to anybody and help with any issue, including doing energy healing from anywhere in the world. So, being done remotely is an amazing benefit. The other really important thing that I can help with is the most important, I think, is to find the root cause of the issue, whether it's physical or behavioral. I can do this by directly communicating with the animal via telepathy, and it's important to know what they are trying to show and tell you. When your cats have a specific behavior or something new or even like a worsening physical or health condition, you can be sure that they are trying to communicate something to you. Many times we have a lot of judgments of what we think is going on, but when I talk to the animal directly, it's not what's going on. By directly communicating with them, I can ask them exactly what they are trying to communicate with you and what is the cause of the behavior or the health issue. And the second most important benefit is to find out what they need from the person or caretaker to resolve the issue. What do they need from you to feel better? I can also address if your kitten or cat is mirroring you or someone in the family. Many times the issues at hand are not their issues, but they are merely reflecting you and can provide amazing insight into what you need to work on, a specific situation, or even a family dynamic. Another great benefit of animal communication and energy healing is it's very cost effective and efficient. Clients have shared with me that they save a lot of time and money by doing an animal communication and or healing session without the need for costly diagnostic procedures or expensive behavioral training. I can provide many details you can share with your veterinarian that can help your veterinarian with their diagnosis and or treatments. If there is a physical or behavioral issue that needs to be addressed, I can find out what the underlying root cause of an issue is and also get many important details, such as when it started, how long they've had it, what is the sensation, what the behavior is about, whether it's acute or chronic, what the pain level is, what they need to feel better or change the behavior or physical issue. And also, I can get a full set of notes to you that you can share with your veterinarian. And based on what your cat tells me they need, I can make suggestions like changes on how you approach your cat or even thoughts you repeatedly think. Remember, they are telepathic and can hear your thoughts. I can also make suggestions for changing routines, diet, aromatherapy, and other holistic solutions, and I can offer remote pranic healing, which again is highly effective. I can also talk to animals in spirit that have passed already. The one I'm communicating with is your animal's soul, not their physical body, which is just a vessel. Listen to episodes number 7 of Talking to Your Own Animals in Spirit. They really wish to communicate with us, and after all, they have chosen you to be part of their life. Ever wonder why? They are teachers and healers for you of unconditional love and selfless service. Now, let's talk about some common feline physical and health issues I can help with. Some common physical issues are kidney disease, dental disease, diabetes, feline immunodeficiency virus, FIV, feline leukemia virus, FELV, cancer, obesity, pancreatitis, food allergies, feline lower urinary tract disease, hyperparathyroidism, broken bones, high-rise syndrome, sneezing, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, basically GI symptoms, fleas, tapeworms, heartworms, ringworms, ear mites, eye problems, and rabies. Of course, cats do not understand medical terminology, but they can describe what they are feeling with all the details, as I mentioned. I can also feel it for myself. I'm empathic. I can get their pain, and I can tell you what it feels like. Sometimes they'll send me like a sour stomach. Sometimes they'll send me arthritic pain, and I can actually feel it for myself, so I can describe it better for you. But most importantly, I can find the root cause of what they need to feel better. I can also ask them if they are open to receive an energy healing from me or even aromatherapy. And again, I offer remote or in-person pranic healing for all animals, and we'll talk about more on this later. So for the physical and health issues, as I mentioned, I can find out valuable details you can share with your veterinarian. I can also do a body scan to get a pain level from 1 to 10. And again, the empathic pain and sensations sent from the animals. And this bit of detailed information can also help me when I do an energy healing on animals. And later I'll read you some client testimonials that I booked double sessions with both animal communication and energy healing. I can get a lot of information. That way I can talk to them about all the causes, what's going on, and then I can also go right to their body and scan them. I don't necessarily need to do an animal communication session, but it's very helpful if we do not know what's going on or do not have a diagnosis. So what about behavioral and emotional issues? There are some important things I want you to understand about our beloved felines. Did you know that cats experience a full range of emotions, just like humans? Although most cat caretakers will say that cats are independent and aloof, as you will learn later, there is a reason for their independence and aloofness, but that is not the extent of their emotions. And just like humans, they experience joy, love, sadness, grief, loss, depression, anxiety, and many more emotions. Did you know that your cat must have a job? That's right, a job, as in employment. Just like humans, they need to feel needed, and they want to know that they're making a difference. Although cats are much more independent than dogs, they still must feel like they are serving a purpose. And our cat companions can incarnate with us to help us with our lessons. So if they feel that they have no use, they get listless and depressed and may sleep a lot or go to the other extreme with too much energy and terrorize your house or the other animals. Their jobs may be assigned to them by the person closest to the animal, or they could have assigned themselves a job based on the past life incarnation you two had together as your soul animal. Many times their job is related to their soul purpose in this incarnation. And when I talk to the cats, I make sure that their job is aligned with their soul purpose. That way, whatever they're doing or being asked to do is serving their soul purpose and their mission. Many clients have asked me, what is the difference between behavior training and animal communication? So feline behavior training, of course, not as common as dog training, but it relies on positive or negative reinforcement training and dominance versus submission. From my perspective as an animal communicator, behavioral training is great, but it lacks a deeper understanding of the animal's intelligence. And with cats, also their multidimensionality and what they are trying to show or tell you. The other problem is behavior training uses a cookie cutter approach that all behaviors mean the same thing, and this is simply not true. For example, a cat with a peeing or marking issue could mean a plethora of things. It's not just one thing. It might mean a dominance issue where they're making or marking their territory. It might be a physical urinary issue with their urinary tract or kidneys. It might be something entirely different. Behavior training makes the assumption that all behaviors have the same causes. And as an animal communicator, I can tell you with no uncertainty that this is simply not true at all. That's why I've had a lot of clients come to me saying they've hired behavior training, they've gone through training, and it made no difference to their animal whatsoever. And I've taken care of the issue in one hour session, issue that they've had for years. For example, I had a female kitten that refused to pee in the litter box. She would pee around it, under it, but never in it. I went to the vet. I changed the litter. I spent all my free time cleaning the big, smelly, urine-smelling mess, and nothing ever changed. I was not an animal communicator back then. When I became an animal communicator, I found out that she had reincarnated from my beloved soul dog that passed away and was trying to show me that she was my dog with this really odd behavior. It blew my mind because that is the exact same behavior that my dog used to have. My dog used to pee circles around the other cat that I had, her litter box, and never went in it, went around it because I tried to potty train the dog. And I got her to potty train, at least to go through the doggy door on the balcony and go near the litter box. But she would never go in it. She was a boy, too. So she would pee circles around the litter box. Well, this cat was reincarnated and trying to show me that this cat was my dog. And I never knew anything of the sort or never got it. Never got the, the personality showing up until I became an animal communicator. And so you could see that if I use that cookie cutter approach where all peeing means the same thing or marking, it does not. Okay, so cats may be exhibiting new or ongoing behaviors and may be acting out like a child does. They may be alerting you about an issue that needs to be addressed. Sometimes they are trying to tell you something about themselves or even other animals. There may be a relationship or hierarchy issue of dominance in the household or have specific fears and sensitivities due to whatever traumas they have. And other times, the emotional or behavioral issues are not their own, but rather they are mirroring you or somebody in the family and another animal to get them to see what you need to work on or what you need to see for the other animals. Your cat may even team up with another animal to mirror a family dynamic, such as fighting in the household. The cats may appear to be fighting with each other, but instead, they are great actors playing a role so you can see your family dynamic. Regardless of what it is, as an animal communicator, I can directly ask your cat the cause of the behaviors and again, find out if they're play acting. So keep in mind, animal mirroring is a gift of service, major gift of service. Because if the issue is a case of animal mirroring, when the person or persons being mirrored work on themselves, your animal's physical and or behavioral issues will simply vanish. However, your cat may be unwilling to let go of the issue if you do not take action. In other words, to go help yourself. They will keep on mirroring you until you address these issues. So for more on the fascinating world of animal mirroring, listen to my episode number 5. Now let's talk about some common feline behavioral issues. So some common feline behavioral issues are scratching, litter box issues, of course, marking, aggression toward other cats or other animals, chewing, excessive sleeping, excessive meowing, compulsive behavior, and fear. Of course, there's a lot more These are just a few of the common ones that I wanted to mention. But the important thing here to understand is that anytime a cat is doing a behavior, regardless of what it is, they are doing it for a reason. They know exactly what they're doing. They're doing it for a reason. Cats are very intentional and direct in their communication and behaviors. They're in need of some kind of help or trying to get your attention to show or tell you something. When I look at this list from a perspective of an animal communicator, I have a lot more insight in some of these behaviors. But now let's deep dive into the multi-dimensional aspects of felines so you'll understand what's behind some of these behaviors. As a cat parent or caretaker, I don't have to tell you of their intelligence, but it goes way beyond intelligence. It's important to understand cats are multi-dimensional. Cats have physical bodies, but they also have etheric bodies, just like humans. Cats and humans, etheric bodies are able to go in different dimensions. They're just better at it than we are. They can go into different dimensions simultaneously while still remaining in their physical body. It may look like they're asleep, but they are working on multiple dimensional levels. Did you know that cats meditate? I have had several cat clients tell me they are not sleeping, but they are meditating. This explains excessive sleeping or the need to be alone. Did you know that your cats also have extrasensory perceptions of seeing ether or spirit? If you've ever observed cats seeing and reacting to things you cannot see, this may explain the odd behaviors like fear, excessive meowing, or other irrational behaviors, like crazy jumping in the air or their hair standing on end or them arching their back in the middle of a living room for no reason. It is because they are able to see the spirit world. Many cats get spooked by what they see and cause a ruckus in the middle of your Netflix and chill apocalyptic programming because while you're watching very negative, dark, scary programming, there may be entities standing in your living room that your cat can see. So your cat will be busy slashing and bagging some evil spirit in your living room that you're not even aware of, standing right in front of you while you're watching these, horrible flicks. Although it sounds far-fetched and downright crazy, I have talked to many, many felines who have told me what they see in the spirit world may be right in front of you and that you do not even have any awareness of this. And I've even had animals tell me that they don't want to go near their humans because they have entities around them. So when you see an animal, especially a cat, acting crazy out of the blue, it's because they can see what is around them. You may not be able to see. Okay, now that you understand what your cat is capable of, let's go back on track and talk about how I can help with specific behaviors. I needed you to know that because sometimes these behaviors, that is what's happening. They're literally seeing the spirit world. So let's talk about specific behaviors. And again, important thing is I can find the root cause instead of relying on the cookie cutter approach. So for traumas, emotional or behavioral issues, I can talk to your cat to find out how they are feeling and get to the root cause, whether it's physical or emotional, what they need from you to release or change the behavior, whatever it is. You can be sure that they are doing this for a reason. If you hear a bird in the background, it's because there's a blue jay screaming at my door right now. So I think this bird wants to get in the podcast if you hear him screaming. So I find out what it is, why they're doing the behavior, what they need from you to release it. And I find a lot of behavioral issues from rescued feral cats that have never really outgrown their tendencies to live in the wild independently. And sometimes they'll share with me that it's not their choice to be rescued or to put inside a house or a building. So sometimes, rescued feral cats will always have that fierce, independent spirit and try to escape. I have a lot of clients with that situation. As I mentioned, behaviors could also be related to animal mirroring, where they need you to see something about your own emotional issues. And just like with the physical issues, I can do the remote or in-person pranic healing session. And with behaviors, I do something called pranic psychotherapy. And it's a technique that we use to help release emotional and behavioral issues and also trauma. It can help remove trauma, like old traumas. And the behavioral issues, they can be something that's going on now or some old past thing. So I can help by doing pranic psychotherapy. And I can also recommend aromatherapy and also Bach flower essences, which are for trauma, abuse, and emotional and behavioral issues. Now, let's talk about energy healing and chakra balancing sessions. If there is an injury, trauma, illness, pain, or behavioral or emotional issue, I offer remote or in person pranic healing and chakra balancing. And this is an ancient healing practice, and it's highly effective and a very directed healing modality. It's much more specific and directed than Reiki. And to learn more about pranic healing, there's a whole episode on it. Listen to episode 10. Sometimes it only requires one session, and I'll read you a couple of testimonials at the end that only require one session. But of course, if it's a chronic or serious issue, it may require more than one session. But I've had great results with this healing modality, and clients have shared with me that it's very cost effective compared to expensive diagnostic and treatment options. And although a diagnosis is helpful for me when I do healing, I do not need it to do a healing session. It's helpful, but it may not be needed. And if I need to get more information, I can do an animal communication session. I do not talk to the animals while I'm doing healing because I'm pulling energy through my body. So if we need to do a communication session that's separate beforehand, then that's a separate combo session. And as I mentioned, I can help heal physical and health issues like pain, illness, injury, as well as traumas, behavioral, and emotional issues like anxiety, fears, and phobia. And best of all, because it's remote, I can work with your animals from anywhere in the world. And in pranic healing, I can also do a body scan or me feeling for areas of depletion or congestion, or even areas of overactivation causing an imbalance. Underactivation or overactivation can cause an imbalance. I can work on the chakra balancing and also cleansing and energizing the physical organs and the body systems, because your chakras, the animal chakras, are connected to the physical organs. So it's all related. So I can do a pranic healing session without doing the animal communication session, as I said, but it is very helpful to do the double session if you can afford to do so, because then I can get lots of details. I can ask the animal where all the spots of pain are in their body, what it feels like, get a sensation of the pain, so I can get a good sense of what it is that I'm working with. But if you can't afford it, it's not necessary. Okay, so I've had many clients tell me the animal communication and pranic healing is much more cost effective than some of the diagnostic procedures, which the vet can't even do because they either don't have the equipment or it's just cost prohibitive on both fronts. And the other thing is, both veterinarian care and energy healing can be done at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Energy healing is complementary to traditional medicine or allopathic medicine. So that's okay. And we're talking about humans too. It's complementary. You can do both. You don't have to choose sides. If you've had the luck to find a holistic veterinarian, that's even better. That's great. You can share my details with them, and they may be open to receiving the details from an animal communicator, because a lot of them do work with animal communicators. And I would be happy to work with your holistic veterinarian or even regular veterinarian if they're open to it. Most of the holistic veterinarians that have contacted me are from other countries because they're a little bit more open than we are in the United States. And as we mentioned, animal communication does address the animal mirroring. So I cannot stress the importance of understanding that mirroring component, since it might not be your animal's issue and you'll be doing treatments on the wrong one, when in reality you should be doing treatments on yourself. So again, you can listen to episode 5 on animal mirroring. Typically, mirroring is going to take place when you have a close personal relationship with your animal. I don't typically find a situation of a animal caretaker with the animal mirroring them. It's mostly when they have a personal relationship. They're your soul animal and they've come in to help you. Mirroring is an intentional act of service to their human to help them see themselves, much like a spouse, partner, or child mirrors you. If you have a personal relationship with your animal, they may choose to mirror your behaviors and emotions or physical and health issues like injuries, illness, or even chronic disease. And I call this taking one for the team because they really will. And if you ask your cat if they're willing to drop the health issue or the behavior, if the person works on themselves, they might be willing to. But the only way your cat's going to be willing to is if you drop the physical or behavioral issue, or you take action and get help, or begin to start working on your issues being mirrored. Then they'd be willing to drop it. So again, please listen to my number 5 podcast on animal mirroring. It's very, very important in both physical and behavioral issues. Another thing I can greatly help with is to assist in the death and dying process and that dreaded end-of-life decision. Believe me, I have been through it. It is gut-wrenching. I fully understand and have 100% compassion for what you're going through. But it's amazing to respect the animal and ask them for their decision and how they feel about leaving their body. So if you have an elder or sick cat that's ready to pass, or the veterinarian has recommended that they be euthanized, please book a session with me. A lot of times they give you 24 hours to decide. Please do not do anything without asking myself as an animal communicator or someone else to do a session for you. So please give them the respect to tell you what they want. I can do emergency sessions. If you contact me, you can tell me it's an emergency and I will call you right back. Okay, so please write in the registration form, it's an emergency, and I'll call you as soon as I can. And this can greatly assist making this difficult end-of-life decision by talking to your cat directly and asking them if they're ready to leave their body. Sometimes they will look very ill. Sometimes they could have limbs falling off, but they tell me no, they're not ready to leave. And it's really important to respect this decision. They know when their time is up, and they also know when it's their exit point. This is called an exit point. So if they are not ready, I can ask them if they'd like to receive help. If they can get help, would they like to stay? And how they would like help. I can ask them if they want an energy healing or herbs or a different treatment from the veterinarian. Cats are very intelligent and they know what their body needs to feel better. To learn more about help with end-of-life decisions, please listen to episode 6. Animal communication can also help with the grief of pet loss. And when I say I fully understand, I 100% gut-wrenching grief that I went through. I was not an animal communicator when I lost my beloved soul animal. I know exactly what it's like. So the grief of pet loss, by talking to your cats that have already passed, I can talk to animals in spirit. You and your cat may have a very bonded and close personal relationship with each other and may have been devastated by the loss of your best feline friend. Many people, including myself, have said that the loss of their animal hurt worse than losing a parent or a sibling. I was devastated for 13 years when my beloved dog died until I became an animal communicator, and that changed everything for me. I mean, everything. I found out that he was reincarnated into the female kitten the same day that I had him euthanized. The exact same day. Of course, I didn't get him for a while. He had to be born and wean. But literally, he was born the same day I put my dog down. I found that out later. Mind-boggling. So animals can come right back to you. It's their choice if they want to or not. And it's also a group decision. In other words, you have to be ready to have another animal. I didn't know that I was ready. And right before it was time for me to get him, these thoughts would pop into my mind that all of a sudden I decided out of the blue to get another animal when I didn't think I would ever love another animal ever again. These thoughts kept popping in my mind. Oh, maybe I'll get a kitten now. And all of a sudden I find this kitten, pick him out, and find him, meet them 2 weeks later, and took one look at him and started crying. But I never knew it was my dog. So anyway, I can really help you with that. It's not just reincarnation, but just to check in with them. We don't have to talk about reincarnation. Some people choose not to. But it really did change everything for me. So, it's actually, believe it or not, easier to talk to animals in spirit than one in a physical body because there's no walls up. The physical body is a density. Well, if they're in spirit, there's no density. So it's pretty easy to do telepathy. And I can find out how they are. I can find out how their transition was. I can find out if they're in any pain, if they were in any pain before passing, how they felt about it. Anything they could have done differently, or anything you could have done differently, or if they were just ready to go, like I said. I can find out how they're doing now, what it looks like if they met up with any animals or family members, and how they'd like to be memorialized and remembered, and if they have anything they wish to share with you. And again, if they're coming back to you, and all of those details. So to listen more about this, about talking to animals in spirit, listen to episodes 7. I can also do a past life session and see how your beloved soul animal has reincarnated with you many, many times. I would say the past life session was a thing that healed me the most with my pet loss grief. It absolutely 100% healed me the most. I can do a past life regression to see the lifetimes that you and your cat had together and what lessons they helped you with. And I can show you the lessons or patterns and promises made from other lifetimes and what led you to work with your soul animals so closely in this lifetime. And also what led them to work with you in this lifetime, because they may be helping you with these same lessons. To learn more about past lives, listen to episodes 8. And lastly, I can also help locate lost animals. Not a lot of animal communicators do this because it's rather difficult and thankless. Not a lot of people say thank you with this because there's a lot of details, and sometimes they don't want to come home. Sometimes they've passed. Sometimes they choose not to come home. They left the house for a reason. Sometimes they get picked up by people who never give them back. Sometimes they find their way back. I mean, there's a whole bunch of scenarios. So not a lot of animal communicators will do this work, but I do work with locating lost animals. So I can talk to your lost cat directly to get explicit details on their whereabouts, and to learn more about locating lost animals, listen to episodes 9. As an animal communicator, I also work with big cats. I help rescue centers and zoos communicate with their big cats. These big cats have shared some amazing things with me. Big cats that are in zoos or rescue centers have told me that they have chosen this incarnation to work with humans as teachers. The fact that they interact with humans not in the wild is not by chance, but rather they have chosen to come into this lifetime to be teachers for us. But they are upset because humans don't believe in talking to them. They don't know of their intelligence, and instead they fear them. So here's what some big cats have shared with me. A lioness named Moxie told me her sole purpose was to be a reflection for the humans. She shared the following. I know my divinity, but their energy is emanating from them like a dirty cloud. Clear your dirty clouds. You are affecting other beings. Connect upward with the beings of light and swim in cleansing waters to help clear. I wish more beings were open to our knowledge and intelligence. They know basic needs, but don't want to cross that boundary. It feels like they are scared of knowing the truth, that I can talk to them like a friend or a family member. They are mostly trying to control us out of fear of us. We are not to be feared. I am fierce, but I am also kind and compassionate. When I read this back to you, it's like it touches me in the heart, because when you talk to these animals like I do, it's just so beautiful and amazing to see what these creatures are really all about, that we fear so much. And we turn into monsters, in our television and movies and films. And they're not. They're just beautiful beings. So I talked to Seattle, a male Sumatra tiger, that shared this with me. He said, I am a gentle soul. I mean no harm. We like to be approached in a heart-centered way, where the humans feel love for us instead of fear. Why don't the others talk to me like this? I have certainly enjoyed speaking to a human. I love the humans. They are my rescuers, but I would like to speak to them on a different level. Do not be afraid of me. Oh, and he called me mistress, which I got a kick out of. He referred to me as mistress. I thought that was great. Both big and small cats have also shared with me something mind-blowing that I'm about to tell you. So be prepared for this. Sit down. This is mind-blowing. Okay, so they shared with me about their colors and stripes. They said that their specific colors and stripes must be earned. Yes, you heard it right. They earn their colors and stripes like military rankings. And I heard this from more than one animal. I heard this from domestic cats, and I've heard this from big cats. So here's what a female Sumatra tiger named Chrissy has shared with me. She said, I am not a performing kitty. I am a divine being. Our species earns our stripes and colors. It takes many years of being a domestic to be awarded tiger stripes. We must go through 9 lives as a cat before we can move up to a big cat. Tiger stripes are on the diagonal, so they can cut through dimensions. Our species are very agile, especially equipped to leap great distances through dimensions. We transcend being in a physical body with our will, and we can take you with us. I am the guardian spirit between 2 worlds. When you are drawn to one of our archetypes, look what we represent. Tiger is a long-haul warrior spirit. Look to us in the eye and connect your warrior within us and with ours. And let me tell you, Chrissy passed away, and I have connected with her, and I see a lot of felines in my sleep when I'm dreaming and when I'm about to go to sleep. I mean, I see feline after feline after feline, and I have connected with Chrissy before and some of the other ones that have passed. So it's pretty amazing. Amazing. So both big and small cats just have shared just some mind-boggling things with me. The cats told me they must go through all the colors first before they can become multicolored cats. Remember those Japanese sailing vessels that I talked about earlier that always had multicolored cats on board? Apparently, multicolored cats have the highest ranking of domestic cats, not of the big cats. So out of domestic cats, they have the highest ranking, and they are prized to be highly protective. And even today, modern Japanese sailing vessels will have multicolored cats on board. Now, let me share with you some great stories and testimonials clients have shared with me. The first testimonial is from Kiwi, the cat who was missing after some time had passed on. I highly recommend Loli for your animal and human communication needs. Loli is quick to contact you upon initial request and is excellent follow-up. Just a few minutes speaking with her and you will feel like you've known her your whole life. She is passionate at helping animals and humans and exudes love and empathy. She is extremely educated in many fields of animal and human communication and healing and will find the best methods to help your situation. She invests the time it takes to assist and will not rush your process. She supplies notes so you can go back and reread at any time. Her accuracy of details and images is outstanding. I'm currently working with her to bring one of my animals home and also starting my healing journey with Loli. I am grateful to have found this beautiful soul and I am excited for a lifelong connection with her. Please do not hesitate to book a session with Loli. Your amazing future awaits. CC in BC, Canada. Next testimonial is a lost animal case with a formerly feral calico cat named Gayla who was missing in the middle of the Flagstaff forest for 3.5 weeks. So here's what the client had to say. Words cannot express how fortunate I feel to have found Loli. She had the hardest challenge of finding and bringing my feral cat back home from the vast nearby forest. Loli helped me understand Gayla's world, and I discovered through her that Gayla wanted to return in her own time. Loli kept me calm and encouraged me to have hope and kept shining my light so that Gayla could find her way back to me. Gayla finally came home after 3.5 weeks in the exact manner that Loli suggested she come into the house. J.M., Flagstaff, Arizona. The next testimonial is an orange tabby cat named Scooter. And Scooter's issue was they wanted to see if he could relocate to another state. Here's what the client had to say. I split my time between living in Kailua Kona, Hawaii, and Southern California, and Scooter lives in our home in California. I have been wanting to bring him over to Kona, but I was concerned that traveling on an airplane would be too traumatic for him. Loli was able to explain to him about Hawaii and traveling on a plane, and he wants to come. It was so adorable that he asked if he would need wings to get there, and she explained to him about airplanes. Scooter also told her that his main job at home is to serve as a bridge between the spirit and the earth realms. He helps us know when our loved ones on the other side are around. Loli asked Scooter if he misses them, and his response was he did not, since they are all around all the time. So that is so reassuring and warms our heart. Thank you so much for Loli for the fun visit with Scooter. I really miss him and can't wait to bring him over to Hawaii. CS, Simi Valley, California. The last testimonial is something that I have on my animal mirroring episode, and it was profound for me and the client. So Herbie is an orange tabby cat. It was brought to me with an impacted bowel. She said she had gone to vets, gotten all kinds of treatments, surgery, different foods, different diet, everything. Nothing helped. It was getting worse, and it's been maybe a year or so. And she came to me, and I did a session, and believe it or not, this cat shared with me that it had to do with mirroring its person, and it had to do with the female family lineage in the household and anger at their mothers. And it was just an amazing, amazing case. Anyway, all was healed. The person I read it back to, she said, you didn't know this, but I had an impacted bowel, so did my mom, and none of us are talking to our mothers. So it was amazing, and we healed everybody in one shot. This is what the client had to say. After a long emotional session about my cat mirroring my impacted bowel and health issues, Loli told me that in order to heal my cat's impacted bowel, I must forgive my mother and my mother's mother and have her mother do the same. She told me that my cat was a mirror of my digestive problems and I must heal my connection with my mother as well as my root chakra. I never knew that my grandmother and my mother never spoke, so I deduced that there was a huge problem because I never knew my grandmother. Little did I know that Loli would guide me through the best, most complete healing session I've ever had. I did a forgiveness session with her, and now I have a close spiritual bond with my mother even after she passes. Now all of our impacted bells are gone, all of them, including Herbie, without doing any more treatments on him. I have my cat's impacted bell and Loli's thoroughness and unbelievable healing skills to thank. J.M., Flagstaff, Arizona. That brings us to the end of this episode. I hope I have broadened your awareness of the intelligence and connection with our divine felines, and just how extraordinary and helpful animal communication and energy healing can be. Book your animal communication session now, or check out my upcoming workshops and classes. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as well as opening your mind, heart, and spirit to your deep connection with your beloved animals. For more information, please visit my website at animals-speak.com or mindbodyspiritworkshops.com, and also subscribe to my monthly newsletters for events and workshop invites. Join us next week for episode 16 on animal therapy. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe, like, and rate us. As always, love and gratitude for listening to the Loli Jane Animal Communication and Healing Podcast. This is Loli Jane. This podcast was created, produced, and recorded, researched, and edited by Loli Jane and is a product of Loli Jane Animal Communication and Healing.